Hey friends, welcome to our Midweek Moment. Pastor Nicole here. So glad you clicked on. Well, we just started a new sermon series this week called the Mandela Effect, where we are talking about those things in Christian culture that we're maybe misremembering from Scripture, things that maybe aren't in Scripture at all. And so we're talking a little bit about digging into Scripture. It's called the Mandela Effect, searching for scriptural truth. And so we're searching for scriptural truth as we kind of flesh out these phrases. Now, what I wanted to do during our midweek moment each week is to take a look at some Bible stories, familiar Bible stories that we know that maybe we misremember details about. So today we are going to talk about a classic Bible story, Noah's Ark. And actually you can see just by happenstance, I have a little carved Noah's Ark right behind me that I bought when I was in Liberia a few years ago. And of course there's two of every kind of animal, and Noah and his wife are there as well. Now, if I asked you to think back to the story of Noah's Ark, you know, we've known it since we were little, Sunday school days, right? How long was Noah on the ark? Now, most of us might say 40 days and 40 nights. That's what Scripture says, right? Well, it's not quite true. It did rain for 40 days and 40 nights. Scripture tells us that. You can find the story of Noah's Ark in Genesis chapter 6 through 8. And as you read through it, you will find that Noah was not on the ark for just 40 days. He was actually on the ark for a year. Isn't that incredible? So if you read through the story, it goes through and tells you kind of how they mark their days. So the rains came for 40 days and for 40 nights, but then the flood waters continue to rise for 150 days, and then there's another 150 days, and before they start receding, and then another 40 days, and it's quite a tale. But I wanted to share with you two verses that kind of point out exactly the timeline. So this is in verse 7, where it says that when Noah started. So this is verse 7:11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, on the 17th day, on that day, all the springs of the deep sea erupted, and the windows of the sky opened, and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. So it all started on the second month, the 17th day of the month. All right, and then we're going to fast forward through all of the Scripture, although go and read it for yourself this week. It's not terribly long chapters. They're pretty short. You can read through it pretty quick. But it talks about, in verse 8, this is the end of the story. So in Noah's 601st year, on the first day of the first month, the waters dried up from the earth, and Noah removed the ark's hatch and saw the surface of the fertile land had dried up. In the second month, on the 17th day, the earth was dry. So 1 year to the day, the earth dried up, and Noah and his family got off the ark. It says in the next verse, God spoke to Noah, go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons' wives with you, and bring all the animals of every kind. And so can you imagine being on an ark for an entire year? Not just 40 days and 40 nights like we think, but for an entire year. So let me know if you were Mandela'd by this passage. Did you think that it was just 40 days and 40 nights, or did you know it was much longer than that? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what your remembrance of this story was. And join me next week as we look at another familiar Bible story and see what we might remember. See y'all next time. Bye.